All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tea with Z. My name is Zamal Slanky, and it's an absolute pleasure to be joining each and every one of you again on another episode this morning. And if you haven't done so already, grab your cuppa, grab your tea, grab your coffee, whatever it might be, because we're about to jump into today's episode. And also, you know the deal. Let's get some energy pumping. So some likes, some hearts, get this energy exchange flowing because that's what we're all about here. So likes, hearts, get that energy exchange happening because I'm super pumped to be with you each and every morning. And this another morning. Now, there's a lot of things happening in the world at the moment. You know, there's potentially World War III. There's massive flooding in Queensland and northern New South Wales. We're seeing like a lot of things happening both locally and abroad at the moment. And with all of these things happening in the world, I want to kick on and continue talking about what we've been chatting about throughout the week so far and talking about just scheduling in pit stops. So we've spoken about the need to refuel, the quality and the type of fuel that we refuel with, but also the need to now to schedule in pit stops. And the way to make this somewhat relatable, think about a Formula One team. They're a very high performing team. You look at just the pit stop crew, and the pit stop crew train as vigorously, if not harder, than the actual driver to help support the driver on their race and also to help them achieve their goal of winning that race. Now, think about that from your perspective. Firstly, what does your pit stop crew actually look like? Have you actually defined it? Is it friends? Is it family? Do you have a pit stop crew that supports you when you're taking that rest, when you're taking that downtime? It might even be a masseuse. It might be a beauty therapist. It might be a physio. It might be a personal trainer. Who's part of your pit stop crew? And what's the quality of that pit stop crew? Because as we know, in a high performing team like in Formula One, your pit stop crew can either make or break your overall performance. It can make or break the difference between winning or losing. Those very small seconds in between what they do and what they do in those moments, and let's talk about quite often under 10 seconds, but 10 to 20 seconds max. They do a lot within that time. But think about it from another perspective. Think about it from the perspective along your healthpreneurial journey. The quality of your pit crew are going to have massive impacts on the quality of your downtime, the quality of your pit stop, the quality of you and your ability to recharge, refuel, and re-energize yourself. And if the quality of your pit crew aren't the gold standard or aren't to a standard that you need, well, then you're going to be recharging, refueling, and re-energizing at a subpar level. And so when you think about that, so taking a step back and looking at the world in which you live in, looking at what support networks you have around you, your pit stop crew is your support network. Is a support network that holds you accountable to ensure that you're taking out the time to really reflect, review, and recharge your batteries along your own healthpreneurial journey. Now, your pit stop crew is also there to pump you with good fuel, to check your tire pressure, to check that everything is running optimally, to check in with you, to make sure that you're giving feedback as well as to maybe how that car is feeling to drive, what might be going wrong, what you might need support with. And so by scheduling a pit stop, and this is what comes in on the radio in Formula One, is the driver is giving feedback to its pit crew. The driver's giving feedback and going, oh, maybe there's something a little bit wrong here. I'm feeling something a little bit funny here. I need to schedule a pit stop. Now, of course, throughout the race, they already pre-plan scheduled pit stops. But things come along in a race that make unscheduled pit stops happen. Maybe there's some debris on the road. Maybe there's an accident. Maybe it's wet weather. Whatever it might be, there's different instances along the journey and along the race that requires an unscheduled pit stop. But today I really want to focus on how do we actually schedule pit stops? How do we actually make sure that we've even got some non-negotiable pit stops in our roadmap along our race on our own healthpreneurial journey? What does that look like? What does that look like? Well, firstly, it takes time and preparation to actually document and schedule in that pit stop. And that requires a conference between you as the driver and your pit crew, your support network. It requires a level of interaction, engagement. And one thing that was amazing for us, and Tash and I took a pit stop out to actually do our planning day, was we went and traveled to Mullaney and had an amazing weekend away and actually used that to plan our business and personal lives on that trip. And it was amazing. So we used that time to work on ourselves personally, but also on our professional lives as well. And so we made that a non-negotiable time. So along your own healthpreneurial journey, my question for you today is, what are your non-negotiable scheduled pit stops? What are your non-negotiable scheduled pit stops? And who is your pit crew? Who are you going to meet as part of that pit group when you pull into that pit stop? It might be nobody. It might be that you're just taking time out for yourself. But then what are the activities? What is actually planned during that pit stop to make it as productive as possible? So that's what I wanted to leave you with today, is to give you this analogy, but to also help prime you for our discussion in the Limitless Network tomorrow. Is scheduling a pit stop, preparing and planning to schedule your pit stops will help ensure that you make these non-negotiable, because it's very easy to put a pit stop off. And just think about it, coming back to the race. If I needed to refuel and the pit crew are calling me, hey, Zamil, pull in, we need to refuel the car, and I ignore those calls and I just keep racing, I'm going to run out of fuel. I'm going to come last. I'm not going to finish the race. I'm going to end up with bad tires. My car's going to maybe just stop working. I'm going to become overly fatigued. But think about if we listen to our support network, listen to the crew behind us that are supporting us and saying, you know, Zamil, you need to take some time out. And what does that time out actually look like? So are you hearing that already? Is there a pit crew already that is doing amazing things for you, but you're just not listening and you're not hearing them? Or maybe you're on the race alone and you haven't actually found your pit crew yet. So my question for you is, when can you schedule in your non-negotiable pit stop? And who's your pit crew there to support you? And lastly, what activities are they going to be doing to help keep you running at peak performance? So that's it from me today. And as you know, tomorrow we jump into an exclusive episode in the Limitless Network. So be sure to subscribe and join the group. The details are in the description box below and on the screen at the moment. So I welcome each and every one of you, because I know we all value health in our own special ways. And this is just another way in which we value health. So come join the Limitless Network. I look forward to having you there. But that's it from me today. Have an awesome day. And I look forward to seeing you on another episode exclusively in the Limitless Network tomorrow. Bye for now.